What would happen if we could warn our past about an impending catastrophe? What if I told you that right at this moment, there exists a warship so advanced that its very existence challenges all known laws of physics? A ship that not only comes from the future, but carries with it the only hope of salvation for all of humanity. Get ready to learn about the most extraordinary story ever documented by the Earth Defense Force. A story that defies everything you thought you knew about technology, time, and the very fate of humankind. This is not just another science fiction tale. It is a detailed account of how the human race faced its own extinction and emerged victorious, thanks to an impossible ally, a warship sent by ourselves from a future that now need never exist. Amidst the vast ocean of stars, the North Star was on the verge of making a discovery that would forever change the course of human history. A discovery that would prove that our greatest enemies are not the aliens attacking us, but the limits we impose on our own evolution. Come and learn the story of Paradox, the ship that should not exist, but does. And its arrival is only the beginning of a new era for humanity. The vacuum of space has always held unfathomable mysteries, but none would compare to what the North Star was about to uncover during its routine patrol in the far reaches of human territory. Captain James Walker, a veteran of the Earth Defense Force for 2 decades, walked through the polished corridors of his ship with that familiar unease he had long since learned to respect. His footsteps echoed against the cold metal as his mind wandered among the stars that dotted the endless horizon, each potentially hiding secrets that could alter the fate of humanity. The monitors on the command bridge flickered with their usual bluish lights, casting dancing shadows on the focused faces of the crew. Walker observed every movement, every breath, every small adjustment on the controls with the precision of a maestro conducting his cosmic orchestra. The North Star was not just a ship, it was an extension of his own consciousness, a floating home for hundreds of souls who depended on his judgment to keep them safe in the depths of the cosmos. The weight of that responsibility was something he bore with pride, but also with a constant vigilance that never left him. The stars looked different that night, although Walker couldn't quite explain why. Perhaps it was the way the distant light from a nearby nebula reflected off the ship's reinforced hull. Or maybe it was just his veteran intuition, alerting him to something his senses had yet to fully process. The Earth Defense Force did not choose its captains solely for their technical skills. The ability to sense danger before it manifested was an equally valued quality. The bridge crew worked in near silence, broken only by the soft hum of life support systems and the occasional beep of sensors conducting their routine scans. It was a comfortable silence, the kind that only exists among people who trust each other with their lives. Walker knew each member of his team, their strengths and weaknesses, their fears and aspirations. It was that intimate knowledge that transformed a simple ship into a truly formidable force in the vast ocean of space. The experienced fingers of the captain glided over the control panels as he reviewed the latest reports. The North Star had completed its 10th consecutive patrol without incident, but something deep in his mind refused to accept the apparent tranquility. 20 years in space had taught him that the universe rarely offered moments of true peace. They were merely interludes between the storms that would inevitably come. The lights on the bridge reflected in Walker's attentive eyes as he studied the long-range sensor readings. The vastness of space stretched before him like an open book, but written in a language that, even after so long, still held mysteries. Each sector of space had its own story, its own peculiarities, and Walker had learned to read those subtleties like an ancient sailor read the waves of the ocean. The North Star's navigation system traced its course through the void with mathematical precision, but Walker knew that not all dangers could be calculated by computers. There was something more in space, something that escaped the most precise measurements and the most detailed analyses. It was that something more that kept veteran captains like him ever alert, always ready for the unexpected, A slight tremor ran through the ship's hull, so subtle that only someone attuned to every nuance of their vessel could notice. Walker frowned, his years of experience screaming in his ears that something was about to change. The Earth Defense Force had encountered many unpleasant surprises in the past, and each had begun with equally subtle signs. The air on the bridge felt heavier now, charged with a tension that Walker knew all too well. It was the prelude to something greater, like the silence before a devastating storm. His eyes scanned the faces of his crew, searching for signs that he was not the only one sensing the impending shift in the air. The North Star continued on its established course, but with each passing second, Walker's certainty grew that they were about to encounter something that would change everything. Minutes dragged on like hours as Walker maintained his silent vigil. The vastness of space stretched infinitely in every direction, a constant reminder of how small they were against the cosmos. But there was a difference between being small and being insignificant. Humanity had repeatedly proven that even in the face of the greatest adversities, its determination and ingenuity could overcome any obstacle. Whatever waited for them in the shadows between the stars, Walker knew his crew would be ready. The silence on the bridge was broken by the sharp, persistent sound of the long-range sensors. Tom, the sensors officer, a young prodigy in spatial detection, leaned over his console with a look of perplexity that immediately captured Captain Walker's attention. The unknown energy signal appearing on their monitors defied any conventional explanation, flickering intermittently like a distant beacon 3 light minutes from their current position. Tom's skilled hands danced over the controls, adjusting and refining the sensor settings to get a clearer reading. The data flowing through the holographic screens revealed something extraordinary, a signature energy that seemed to exist in a constant state of flux, as if the very source were oscillating between different states of reality. Not even the most advanced ships of the Dominion Alien Empire, known for their superior technology, had demonstrated similar capabilities. The air on the bridge became electrically charged as the crew processed the implications of the discovery. North Star's most sophisticated analysis algorithms were failing to categorize the phenomenon, generating a cascade of errors and warnings that painted the screens red. The magnitude of the signal suggested something colossal, a presence in the emptiness of space that made the North Star seem insignificant in comparison. Walker watched intently as specialists at different stations shared theories and speculations. The readings defied not only their current understanding of spatial physics, but also all known records of previous encounters with alien civilizations. The energy signal pulsed with an almost hypnotic rhythm, as if trying to communicate something through its own paradoxical existence. The ship's defense systems remained on high alert, monitoring every fluctuation in the mysterious signal. Experience had taught Earth's Defense Force that not all discoveries in deep space were friendly, and many civilizations had paid a high price for letting their guard down in the face of the unknown. North Star's weapons were loaded and ready, even though everyone hoped they wouldn't need to use them. Tom continued his meticulous analysis, isolating different aspects of the signal for detailed study. Each new discovery only deepened the mystery. The phenomenon appeared to defy the very laws of physics that governed the known universe. The waves of energy emanating from the mysterious source exhibited patterns suggesting a technology so advanced that it bordered on the realm of magic, as Arthur C. Clarke once predicted. The communication officers scoured all known frequencies, searching for any sign of intentional transmission. The space surrounding the North Star was saturated with a cacophony of electromagnetic radiation emanating from the source. But behind the apparent chaos, some of the more experienced analysts swore they could detect patterns reminiscent of known communication codes, albeit distorted in impossible ways. Tension on the bridge increased with each passing moment as more data was collected and analyzed. The officers exchanged concerned glances, aware that they were witnessing something that could completely redefine their understanding of the universe. The Dominion Alien Empire, with all its arrogance and technological might, had never demonstrated capabilities that approached what they were observing. Theories began to surface among the scientific crew. Some suggested it could be a manifestation of unknown warp space technology, while others speculated they were witnessing the effects of large-scale temporal manipulation. Each hypothesis seemed more extraordinary than the last, but none could fully explain the phenomenon before them. Captain Walker maintained his calm and analytical demeanor, but his years of experience in deep space told him they were about to cross a threshold from which there would be no return. The unknown energy signal pulsed like a cosmic heart in the void, calling them closer, and Walker knew they had no choice but to respond to that silent call, regardless of the risks it might entail. The moment of decision hung over the North Star's bridge, like an electric cloud. Captain James Walker rose from his command chair, his posture emanating the confidence that only decades of experience in the Earth Defense Force could provide. With a deliberate motion, he activated the ship's internal communication system, his voice resonating through all compartments. "Attention, crew, this is the captain. We have set a course for interception to investigate an unprecedented anomaly. All sections, unknown encounter protocol in effect. This is not a drill." Yeah, the corridors of the ship sprang to life with feverish yet organized activity. Years of rigorous training kicked into action as each crew member took their battle positions. Engineering technicians rushed to their posts, checking critical systems and preparing emergency redundancies. The rhythmic sound of boots against the metal floor echoed through the ship's structure, creating a symphony of military preparation that Walker knew all too well. In North Star's scientific laboratories, a multidisciplinary team of specialists began calibrating an impressive array of sensors and analytical instruments. Dr. Sarah Chen, the lead quantum physicist, personally coordinated the setup of detectors specially designed for phenomena beyond the normal detection spectrum. Her team had modified several standard systems on the ship to detect even the most subtle anomalies in the fabric of space-time. The armament section worked with methodical precision, loading weapon banks and checking targeting systems. Lieutenant Rodriguez, the chief tactical officer, personally oversaw the preparation of the ship's defensive systems. Past experiences with the Dominion alien empire had taught humanity that even the most innocent discoveries could quickly turn into combat situations, and they would not be caught off guard. In the infirmary, Dr. Emma Lewis and her medical team organized supplies and emergency equipment. Trauma kits tailored for different types of injuries, from plasma burns to vacuum exposure, were checked and strategically distributed throughout the ship. Experience had shown that in encounters with the unknown, the difference between survival and disaster often depended on the speed of medical response. The ship's Special Operations Center transformed into a hub of intense activity. Boarding and rapid response teams checked their gear, including the new combat spacesuits with enhanced camouflage capabilities. Sergeant Mike Chen, a veteran of numerous special operations, conducted a quick briefing on approach procedures in first contact situations, emphasizing the importance of balancing caution with diplomacy. In the communications section, linguists and xenology specialists worked frantically to update the ship's translation protocols. Lieutenant Aisha Patel, an expert in xenobiological communications, was coordinating the preparation of various contact methods, ranging from simple mathematical sequences to complex patterns of light and sound that had proven effective in previous encounters with unknown species. The propulsion engineers were carefully adjusting the North Star's engines, balancing the need to maintain maximum firepower with the ability to perform evasive maneuvers in a fraction of a second. Chief Engineer McPherson was personally overseeing modifications to the shield deflectors, incorporating lessons learned from past encounters with advanced alien technologies. On the command bridge, Walker observed the preparations through the reports coming in from each section of the ship. The monitors displayed a steady stream of data: energy levels, system status, and crew readiness. Each number, each indicator, told a story of professionalism and dedication that filled the captain with pride. The Earth Defense Force had come a long way since its early days in space. As the North Star approached the mysterious signal, Walker couldn't help but reflect on how each member of his crew represented the best humanity had to offer. They were explorers and warriors, scientists and technicians, united by the desire to protect their species and unravel the mysteries of the cosmos. Whatever awaited them ahead, he knew his crew was ready to face the challenge. The silence on the North Star's bridge was almost palpable when the first detailed data began to pour in from the long-range sensors. The image forming on the holographic displays left even the most experienced officers gasping in awe. Before them, emerging from the shadows of deep space, was a colossal ship that defied all human comprehension. Its dark, imposing structure seemed to bend light itself, as if reality were warping in response to its mere presence. The North Star's measurement systems struggled to process the dimensions of the alien structure. Preliminary calculations indicated that the mysterious ship was at least twice the size of the North Star, but there was something strange about the readings. The science officer, Dr. Rebecca Chen, furrowed her brow as she analyzed the conflicting data streaming from her station. The measurements fluctuated in an impossible manner, as if the very size of the ship were shifting between different states of reality, defying the fundamental laws of physics. The material of the unknown vessel's hull exhibited properties that contradicted everything human science understood about space metallurgy. Instead of reflecting the light of nearby stars, the surface of the craft appeared to absorb it, creating a void darker than the surrounding space. The North Star's spectral sensors detected energy absorption patterns that matched no known materials, either on Earth or in the databases of the alien Dominion Empire. The analysis team worked frantically to comprehend the phenomenon before them. The ship's computers processed terabytes of data per second, attempting to find any recognizable pattern in the structure of the mysterious vessel. Theories began to emerge among the scientists. Some speculated about advanced cloaking technology, while others whispered about possible manipulations of the very fabric of space-time. Each new discovery only deepened the mystery. Captain Walker observed with increasing attention as new details emerged from the analyses. The geometry of the ship defied Euclidean logic, with angles that seemed impossible and surfaces folding over themselves in ways that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. It was as if someone had built a vessel using the blueprints of a non-Euclidean nightmare, a physical manifestation of impossible mathematics. The sensor officers reported increasingly bizarre anomalies. Certain sections of the colossal ship appeared to exist in multiple positions simultaneously, like an overlaid image on a poorly developed film. Readings of mass and density fluctuated wildly, sometimes suggesting that parts of the structure had negative mass, a concept that had been considered purely theoretical until now. The Earth Defense Force had never encountered anything remotely similar in all their explorations. Dr. Chen coordinated a series of specialized scans, utilizing the full arsenal of scientific instruments aboard the North Star: X-rays, gamma radiation, neutrinos. Each type of sensor revealed a new layer of impossibility. The hull of the mysterious ship seemed to interact with different types of radiation in completely unpredictable ways, as if the very physical constants of the universe were malleable in its presence. It was an affront to everything science considered immutable. The North Star's communications remained utterly silent, scanning all known frequencies for any signal from the enigmatic vessel. The absence of transmissions was as disturbing as the physical anomalies they were observing. If there was a crew aboard that impossible structure, they showed no interest in establishing contact. Or perhaps they operated on a level of existence that rendered human concepts of communication obsolete. Time seemed to flow differently as the North Star's crew attempted to process what lay before them. Each new scan, each new analysis only added more layers to the mystery. The colossal ship hovered in space like a monument to impossibility, a silent reminder that the universe still held secrets capable of making the brightest human scientists question everything they thought they knew about reality. In his command chair, Walker felt the weight of history on his shoulders. He knew they were facing something that could completely redefine human understanding of the cosmos and their place within it. The discovery of this ship was not merely an encounter with advanced technology. It was a glimpse into possibilities that transcended human comprehension of reality. And as he watched that manifestation of impossibility floating in the void, a certainty grew in his mind. They had crossed a threshold from which there was no return. In the engineering room of the North Star, Chief Engineer Lisa Martinez stared at her data screens with a mix of fascination and professional disbelief. Her 20 years of experience with the most advanced systems of the Earth Defense Force had not prepared her for what she was witnessing. The energy readings from the mysterious ship challenged not only known technology but also the very laws of thermodynamics that govern the universe. Its instruments indicated something theoretically impossible. The ship was generating more energy than it consumed, acting as a perpetual power source that mocked the limitations of known physics. The three-dimensional holograms floating around her workstation displayed graphs and diagrams that seemed to have emerged from a mathematical nightmare. The equations describing the ship's energy behavior twisted and transformed, refusing to fit into any known model. Lisa had seen her fair share of advanced technologies, including those used by the alien Dominion Empire, but this was different. It was as if the ship operated under an entirely new set of physical rules that rendered all accumulated human knowledge about the workings of the universe obsolete. The engineering team worked frantically around her, calibrating and recalibrating instruments, checking calculations, and running diagnostics in a desperate attempt to find some error in the readings. But each new measurement only confirmed the impossible. The quantum sensors, specially designed to detect the subtlest fluctuations in the energy field, were registering patterns that suggested parts of the ship existed simultaneously in multiple energy states, as if it were toying with the very foundations of quantum mechanics. The material of the hull exhibited even more perplexing properties. Lisa had ordered a series of specialized scans, employing the full arsenal of analytical instruments from North Star. The results were astonishing. The material seemed imperceptible to certain wavelengths, as if parts of the ship simply ceased to exist when viewed from certain angles or through specific types of radiation. It was as if the ship's structure danced between different states of reality, defying the very notions of physical existence. North Star's analysis systems struggled to process the volume of contradictory data flowing from the sensors. Lisa watched with growing concern as the readings indicated energy levels fluctuating chaotically, sometimes reaching peaks that exceeded the total energy output of a medium-sized star. The most disturbing aspect was that this energy seemed to arise from nowhere, violating the fundamental principle of energy conservation that had been the bedrock of physics for centuries. On her main screen, a three-dimensional model of the mysterious ship slowly rotated, each turn revealing new mysteries. Certain sections of the structure appeared to bend space itself, creating distortions that North Star's instruments could barely register. Lisa had been part of the development of some of Earth's most advanced technologies, but this was beyond anything she could have imagined. It was as if they were witnessing a technology so advanced that, as Arthur C. Clarke once suggested, it was indistinguishable from magic. The implications of the discoveries began to accumulate in her mind, like pieces of a cosmic puzzle. If this technology could be understood and replicated, it could revolutionize not just space exploration, but all of human civilization. A source of energy that defied the laws of thermodynamics could mean the end of energy scarcity that still limited humanity's growth. Materials that could manipulate their own existence in reality could lead to unimaginable advances across all fields of science. The scientific officers working with Lisa began to theorize about the possible origins of the ship. Some suggested it could be an artifact left by an ancient and long-gone civilization, while others speculated about travelers from other dimensions or parallel realities. Each theory seemed more extraordinary than the last. But in light of the impossible evidence accumulating, even the most fantastic explanations began to seem plausible. The sound of alarm systems jolted Lisa from her reflections. New readings indicated changes in the energy patterns of the mysterious ship. It was as if the structure was responding to North Star's presence, its previously dormant systems beginning to awaken. Energy fluctuations intensified, creating patterns reminiscent of an alien mathematical language, as if the ship itself was attempting to communicate through the very laws of physics it so casually violated. As she prepared her report for Captain Walker, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of an unprecedented scientific revolution. The universe had always been a place of mysteries and wonders, but this discovery suggested that even the most fundamental laws they thought they understood were merely the surface of a much deeper and stranger reality. The chief engineer knew that her findings would forever change how humanity viewed its place in the cosmos. The atmosphere on the North Star's bridge transformed instantaneously when the first signs of activation were detected in the mysterious ship. Like pulsing veins of pure energy, lines of blue light began to traverse the hull of the alien structure, creating hypnotic patterns that seemed to dance through the vacuum of space. It was as if a giant, long dormant, had awakened from a millennia-long sleep, each pulse of light revealing more details of its previously imperceptible surface. North Star's sensors recorded a cascade of changes in the colossal ship. Waves of quantum energy emanated from its structure in increasingly complex patterns, creating interferences in the detection systems that made the bridge's screens flicker with seemingly impossible data. The crew watched in silent reverence as the manifestation of advanced technology came to life before their eyes, its blue lights reflecting on the astonished faces of the officers present. The communications officer nearly leaped from his seat when the first signal arrived. It was something completely unexpected. Amidst the chaos of radiation and energy emanating from the alien ship, a clear and precise signal emerged, modulated in radio frequencies perfectly tuned to North Star's receivers. But what truly shocked everyone was not the clarity of the signal, but its content. The message was in perfect English, as if it had been sent from another ship of Earth's defense force. North Star's analysis systems worked furiously to process the increasing flow of data. Every passing second brought more information about the ship that defied comprehension. The lines of light coursing across its hull were not merely a visual spectacle. They seemed to be part of an incredibly complex initialization process, as if each section of the ship was being methodically activated in accordance with a predetermined sequence. It was a technological ballet of cosmic proportions, executed with a precision that suggested an intelligence vastly superior. Captain Walker maintained his calm and professional demeanor, but his eyes betrayed a mix of fascination and concern as he watched the transformation before him. The mysterious ship continued its activation process, each new pulse of energy causing the North Star's sensors to register increasingly extraordinary readings. The imperceptible material of its hull now appeared to pulse with a life of its own, as if every atom were dancing between different states of existence. The message that echoed through the bridge's speakers was clear and direct. This is the temporal defense ship paradox. The voice was surprisingly human, carrying a tone of authority and urgency. There was no interference, no background noise, just crystal clear words that seemed to completely ignore the normal limitations of communication in the deep void of space. It was as if the source of the transmission were right beside them, rather than emanating from a structure that defied the laws of physics miles away. The impact of that first communication reverberated through the crew like a silent shockwave. The idea that this impossible ship was not only of human origin, but seemingly from a distant future, shook the foundations of everything they thought they knew about technology and time. The officers exchanged astonished glances as they tried to process the implications of that revelation. It was as if the very future of humanity had crossed the veil of time to make contact. The North Star's voice analysis systems confirmed the authenticity of the signal. It was neither a simulation nor an attempt at imitation. The voice addressing them carried unequivocally human vocal patterns, although there was something odd about its cadence, as if the speaker were accustomed to a dialect slightly different from standard English. It was yet another layer of mystery in a situation already saturated with unanswered questions. The colossal ship continued its awakening, each new system coming online, generating fresh waves of data on the North Star's sensors. The blue lights coursing across its hull had intensified, creating patterns reminiscent of gigantic electronic circuits. It was as if they were witnessing the activation of a city-sized computer, every process carefully orchestrated in a symphony of light and energy. Walker knew they were about to receive information that would forever change the course of human history. The mere existence of the paradox, with its technology that defied comprehension and its seemingly temporal origin, represented a revolution in everything humanity believed to be possible. As the next part of the message prepared to be transmitted, the captain could feel the weight of the moment. They were no longer just explorers of space, but witnesses to an encounter with their own future. The silence that followed the first transmission from the temporal defense ship Paradox was shattered by the artificial voice emanating from the North Star's speakers. Each word fell like a weight upon the crew, carrying the burden of a dark future they had yet to live. The message was clear and devastating. The Dominion fleet was on its way, armed with technology capable of annihilating any conventional defense, and they had only 30 days before the first attack would commence. The synthetic voice continued its transmission, each word carefully modulated to convey both urgency and precision. The information flowed like a river of terrible revelations. In another timeline, humanity had faced this very moment and failed. The alien Dominion Empire had arrived with quantum phasing weapons that turned Earth's greatest fleets into stardust in a matter of hours. Ground defenses, no matter how advanced, had proven useless against a technology that allowed projectiles to exist in multiple realities simultaneously. The tension on the bridge was palpable as the message detailed the technology that the paradox brought with it. The main computer's core contained not only proof of its temporal origin, but also the designs and specifications of technologies humanity would take decades, if not centuries, to develop on its own. It was a technological time capsule, a desperate gift from a future that refused to accept its own destruction. Walker observed the faces of his crew, seeing in them the reflection of his own astonishment and concern. Technical data began to flow through the North Star's terminals, confirming the authenticity of the message. Diagrams, equations, and technical specifications revealed a technology so advanced that it rendered the most modern systems of Earth's defense force to mere primitive toys by comparison. The imperceptible material of the Paradox's hull was not just a scientific curiosity, it was the key to a technological revolution that could save the human species from extinction. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on every crew member as they processed the implications of the message. The alien Dominion Empire, already considered a formidable threat, was about to reveal itself to be infinitely more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The quantum phasing technology they possessed was not merely a military advantage, it was a death sentence for any civilization that opposed them, unless it could be countered by the same technology. Tom continued his meticulous analysis of the received data, his hands dancing over the controls as he confirmed each aspect of the message. The atomic composition of the Paradox's hull perfectly matched terrestrial materials, but arranged in a way that current science barely began to comprehend. It was as if someone had taken the basic elements known to humanity and reorganized them according to physical principles yet to be discovered. The revelation that the Paradox was a human ship from the future triggered a cascade of philosophical and practical questions. The very existence of the ship challenged current understanding of temporal physics. suggesting that time was not the linear and immutable current everyone assumed it to be. The idea that the future could interfere with its own past opened up both terrifying and hopeful possibilities. Walker knew that the decision he would make in the next moments would affect not only the fate of his crew, but potentially the future of the entire human species. The boarding offer on the Paradox was not merely an invitation to explore an alien ship. It was a call to participate in a temporal rescue mission, a desperate attempt to rewrite a story of destruction that had yet to occur. The captain's experienced eyes scanned the reports that continued to arrive, each new piece of data confirming the gravity of the situation. The alien Dominion Empire was not just another adversary to be faced. It was an extinction force that had already proven capable of eradicating humanity in at least one timeline. The technology that Paradox offered was not an option. It was humanity's only hope for survival. As the last part of the message echoed through the bridge, Walker could feel the weight of history converging on this moment. The Paradox was not just a ship, it was a beacon of hope, sent through time by a humanity that refused to accept its own end. And now, silently standing in the void of space, it offered a chance to rewrite the future, an opportunity to transform a story of defeat into a saga of triumph against all odds. The interior of the Paradox was a living testament to the technological advances humanity could achieve. The corridors through which the North Star boarding team moved seemed to have a life of their own, their fluid walls responding to touch as if made of conscious mercury. The air circulating through the life support systems had a strange quality, as if each molecule had been perfectly calibrated to optimize human pulmonary function. Even so, no one dared to remove their helmets. Decades of space exploration had taught that caution was never excessive. Dr. Emily Reed led the quantum engineering team through the impossible labyrinths of the Paradox, her analytical instruments working furiously to comprehend the systems surrounding them. Each new discovery further challenged the limits of current scientific knowledge. The hull of the ship was not just a physical barrier. It was a living quantum matrix, existing simultaneously in multiple realities and constantly adjusting its configuration to maximize protection against any conceivable threat. It was as if the very structure of the ship was in a perpetual state of quantum flux, dancing between different possibilities of reality. The central console activated as they approached, projecting a hologram so realistic that, for a moment, everyone instinctively recoiled. The figure of Admiral Thomas Cooper materialized before them, his features marked by the weight of wars that had yet to happen. His modified uniform from the Earth Defense Force silently told a story of adaptation and survival, each insignia and modification representing battles and victories that existed only in a timeline they now fought to avert. His message was clear and direct, carrying the weight of someone who had witnessed the end of the world and returned to prevent it. The technology they found inside the Paradox made the most advanced systems of the North Star seem like primitive relics in comparison. Each compartment revealed new mysteries: containment fields that bent gravity itself, quantum computing systems processing information across multiple realities simultaneously, and weapons capable of erasing their targets from the very fabric of space-time. It was the result of decades of technological development accelerated by the desperate need for survival against an unrelenting enemy. The heart of the ship pulsed with impossible energy, its quantum vacuum core extracting power from the very fluctuations of the vacuum of space. Dr. Reed watched in wonder as her instruments struggled to understand how the Paradox could generate more energy than it consumed, seemingly violating the most fundamental laws of thermodynamics. But there was no violation, only a deeper understanding of the laws of the universe, knowledge that humanity would take decades to develop on its own. The holographic message from Admiral Cooper continued, revealing increasingly shocking details about the future they were trying to avoid. The attack from the Dominion alien empire had not just been an invasion, it was an extinction event that reduced the Earth's population to mere millions in a matter of days. The quantum phasing technology they possessed allowed their weapons to completely bypass any conventional defenses, turning the greatest human strongholds into fields of ashes before any countermeasures could be implemented. For Dr. Reed, the most impactful revelation was personal. In another timeline, it had been she who discovered how to combine the principles of quantum mechanics with conventional engineering, creating the theoretical foundation that allowed for the construction of the paradox. The equations and diagrams she found in the ship's databases carried her own mathematical signature, a style of thinking she immediately recognized as her own, even though she had never developed those specific theories. It was like finding a diary she had never written, telling a story she had yet to live. The defense systems of the paradox were particularly fascinating. The probability hull was not merely a physical barrier. It was a technological manifestation of the principle of quantum superposition on a macroscopic scale. When under attack, the structure of the ship literally existed in multiple probabilistic states simultaneously, making it virtually impossible for any weapon to hit its target with certainty. It was a perfect defense against the Dominion's phasing weapons, using their own principles against them. The technical team worked tirelessly to document and comprehend every aspect of the technology they encountered. Time was a luxury they did not possess. With only 30 days until the Dominion attack, they needed not only to understand these advanced systems, but also to find a way to adapt them to the existing ships in the Earth fleet. It was a task that would normally take years or decades, but the future of humanity depended on their ability to achieve the impossible in a matter of weeks. Each new discovery aboard the Paradox not only expanded the scientific understanding of the team, but also offered glimpses of a future where humanity had transcended its current limitations. The navigation systems operated on dimensional levels that current mathematics barely began to theorize. The control interfaces responded to neural impulses even before commands were consciously formed, and the databases contained enough knowledge to revolutionize every field of human science. It was as if the very future of human civilization had been condensed into a single ship, sent through time as a last hope for salvation. The 30 days that followed the discovery of the paradox were a frantic race against time. Scientists and engineers from the Earth Defense Force worked tirelessly to adapt the revolutionary technology of the future to the ships of the current fleet. What would typically take decades of research and development was being compressed into a month of intense and desperate work. Dr. Reed led the technical teams, her brilliant mind processing concepts that challenged the very fabric of reality, as she implemented modifications that would transform Earth's ships into weapons capable of confronting the alien Dominion Empire. The development of the probability hull was the first and most crucial adaptation. Using the principles of quantum superposition on a macroscopic scale, the ships of the Earth fleet were equipped with protective fields that allowed them to exist in multiple probabilistic states simultaneously. It was a revolutionary defense that turned each ship into a living paradox, impossible to strike with certainty by any conventional weapon. Engineers worked day and night, installing quantum field generators and calibrating systems to maintain dimensional stability. The quantum vacuum core, one of the most advanced technologies brought by the paradox, was miniaturized and adapted to provide practically unlimited energy to the fleet's ships. Each reactor drew energy from the very vacuum of space, powering systems that previously would have required the energy of a small star to operate. The implementation of this technology not only revolutionized propulsion systems, but also enabled the use of phasing weapons that would have been impossible due to their astronomical energy demands. When the Dominion fleet finally emerged from hyperspace, their sensors detected what appeared to be a standard Earth defense force. Their colossal ships advanced with the arrogance of those who considered victory already guaranteed. Their weapon systems charged with phasing technology that, in another timeline, had proven devastatingly effective against human defenses. What they did not know was that they were about to face a transformed humanity, armed with knowledge and technology from their own future. The Dominion's first attack was a test of their superior capabilities, a barrage of phasing projectiles that should have pierced through Earth's defenses like paper. Instead, the shots found only emptiness, passing through ships that simultaneously existed and did not exist in different quantum states. The confusion in enemy communications was palpable as they struggled to comprehend how their supposedly invincible technology had failed so completely. The North Star, now equipped with its own version of the probability hull and quantum armaments, led the counterattack. Under the command of Captain Walker, the ship executed maneuvers that defied physics itself, appearing and disappearing between different realities while firing energy bursts that erased entire sections of Dominion ships from existence. It was a deadly dance of technology and tactics, with each movement carefully calculated to maximize the impact of their new capabilities. Confronted with a resistance that not only matched but exceeded their own technology, the Dominion Empire attempted to adapt their tactics. Their larger ships concentrated fire on specific sectors of space, trying to saturate entire areas with enough energy to strike their targets regardless of their quantum state. But the Earth fleet's technological adaptation was dynamic and evolutionary, each ship learning and adjusting its phasing patterns in real time to maintain its invulnerability. The battle reached its climax when the Dominion mothership, a colossal structure rivaling the size of small moons, advanced to the center of the conflict. Its black hull absorbed the light of nearby stars, and its dark energy cannons promised devastation on a planetary scale. But humanity was ready. A coordinated formation of Earth cruisers, their quantum defenses synchronized in perfect harmony, executed a series of precise attacks that exploited the very gaps in the enemy's phasing technology. The final blow came from the North Star itself. Taking advantage of a momentary vulnerability in the Dominion mothership's defense matrix, Walker ordered a concentrated attack with the new phasing weapons. The impact was devastating. The released energy created a cascade of quantum reactions that literally unraveled the dimensional coherence of the enemy ship. For a moment, the gigantic structure existed in all possible realities, simultaneously, before collapsing into a singularity that removed it completely from the fabric of space-time. The destruction of the mothership was the decisive turning point. Without its leadership and main command center, the Dominion fleet began to disintegrate. Some ships made desperate attempts to flee through hyperspace, while others were systematically neutralized by the now superior Earth force. It was more than a military victory. It was the definitive proof that humanity had not only survived its greatest threat, but emerged stronger and more advanced than ever. A ship from the future that completely changed the destiny of humanity. But this is just one of the many extraordinary stories we have to share about the vast universe of science fiction. If you were as fascinated as I was by the story of the paradox, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our stories about impossible technologies, epic battles, and the mysteries of deep space. Leave in the comments what your favorite part of the paradox story was. Was it the moment they discovered the ship came from the future? Or perhaps the final battle against the Dominion Empire? Your opinion is very important to us. And now, how about clicking on the video that's appearing on your screen to discover more mysteries of deep space? The galaxy is full of extraordinary stories waiting to be told, and you won't want to miss any of them.